Like, I'm just gonna, ready? I'm just gonna, like, chop, chop, gallop it, chop, chop, and then, like, when that happens, like, they all fly away. That could be really cool, man. We should try that one day.
Hello, insects of YouTube. It is Adam Noyce from Adam Noyce, and joining me for the first time on this channel is my friend Kyle Narciso Paris, even though it looks like Perez.
Two last names.
He has two last names. That is rather badass, I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And I invited him here to talk because, well, he got me into this movie, and I still don't 100% know quite how I feel about this wonderful experience that I had just witnessed 3 times in a row. But we're here today to talk about the very controversial film directed by the man who brought us Drive, which I keep forgetting his name.
Nicholas Winding Refn.
See, look at that.
Yep.
Only God Forgives, starring Ryan Gosling. You might as well just begin on this, like.
It's a really odd film. It, to be honest with you, like, I'm so happy you actually watched it, Adam. You know how long I was trying to get you to watch this movie, and you finally did it. And
dude, I think it was like the first day I met you, you talked about Only God Forgives,
and
I was like, I gotta check it out.
Well, I just knew you were a connoisseur of film, and I feel like that's not the right word, but you understand film in a way that I could describe this movie to you, and I knew you somehow would like it, and so I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. Let me tell him about it.
Yeah, it was like, first time I watched it, I immediately texted you. I was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Right, it was, on so many words, it was a softcore porn is what I think you wrote actually to me.
It felt like a softcore porn.
Yeah.
Well, it was like...
Still kind of is.
All it was Ryan Gosling sticking his fingers into things.
Right, yeah, very, very many things, actually. Yeah, which is funny, believe it or not. When I was watching the commentary last night, and I'm sure you've seen it too, he talks about his hands a lot. He keeps saying that his closed fist is, yeah, when he does that whole thing was awesome. But he talks about how a closed fist is, like, I guess more important because it keeps you guarded and stuff like that, which I get now that I've seen that. But beforehand, I kind of just pictured it as Ryan Gosling trying to be God. I don't know if you took it that way, but it's
not the first time.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it was so funny just because this movie has gotten very mixed reviews.
Yeah.
And I totally understand why
100%.
in complete hindsight.
Yeah,
but
of course.
It was funny because the first review I saw of the movie when I typed it up online, it said, I have never seen a movie be so beautiful but be so bad. And
understandable.
And that was my reaction the first time I watched it too. However, then I watched this other guy's review for it where he basically just tore the movie. He went into the movie and basically described what was going on,
right,
or what he felt was going on, which some of it I don't agree with, and some of it I do. But watching that review of him talking about the whole thing where that Chang, the police officer there, is God,
right,
and everything like that, I started liking it more.
Right, of course.
And then, of course, you let me borrow it again, and I watched it, and then I watched the audio commentary, and I can say that I like the movie now. Now, is it perfect? No. I still have some big problems with the movie.
Yeah.
But it was overall really good, and the cinematography in this movie.
Every shot is gorgeous, even if it was a terrible movie, which I don't think it is either. it is
I don't
the
think it's
prettiest,
terrible, no.
worst movie ever. Like that's it. Really, it's just so. Oh my god.
It's dedicated. What's funny is that it's dedicated to this French director who was going to make the original Dune before it got canceled.
Interesting.
And that's the only reason why I know him. I forgot his name off the top of my head, but he's French, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not that important. Clearly this is like a love letter to Stanley Kubrick
Of
in
course.
terms of the cinematography.
Right.
Like every single shot has like one of those like tracking dolly shots.
Beautiful.
Everything is very wide. It uses a lot of, I love these shots, one point perspective.
Oh yeah.
God.
It has those like hallway shots which are specific to The
yeah.
Shining, and you know, I just love that because to me, and you know this, Stanley Kubrick is God. He's my Chang to Ryan Gosling. You know what I mean? and honestly, like I gotta say, those colors mixed in perfectly, the blues and the reds and the neons, he created this whole mysticism
Yeah.
in the Thai world and brought it to America. And that's why people probably don't understand the movie. I mean, to me, I always liked that culture and I was always fascinated by it. So to see it finally play out in a movie sense was beautifully shot. That's why I fell in love with it originally.
Well, yeah, and the fact that, first off, I went to the movie not really knowing at all anything about it when you handed me, or when you said, Adam,
Yeah.
we had an ultimatum. We had an ultimatum, or whatever the hell it was. I said he needed to watch Tokyo Drifter,
Still I'm working on that.
and he's still working on
that.
Ass.
Right.
No, and I had to watch Only God Forgives. Now, unlike him, I actually held up my end of the deal.
Yes, you did.
And I went and watched Only God Forgives. And what immediately jumped out to me was, even before I realized that this was in Thailand, like from the opening shots, I was like, this is not going to be a normal movie.
No.
Just in terms of the light. First off, I love the coloring of reds and blues, which is so funny because
Perfectly matched.
Rizzuto would hate it.
Yes,
for that
our
reason.
professor would not be a fan of this
Yes,
movie.
he would hate the
Although
movie.
he really did like the fight scene.
Yeah,
a lot.
I played it in class because I said for that project with the
Yeah,
XL2,
right.
I said if we're going to shoot something, we're
Yeah.
going to make it as surreal as possible.
Of
We're
course.
going to make it like this.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, another kid was showing
Which
showing me." And I was
happened
like,
to be
yeah.
me in an earlier. But honestly, like again, even with the colors beginning off the movie, like you see right with that opening shot when they're inside the boxing ring, it's like this movie has Eastern feel to it. Something
Yeah,
that-
it's
that's-
very Oriental, and
Right.
so I was like, okay, we're clearly in Asia.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we started getting to some of the exteriors, or when Ryan Gosling's brother's character starts walking about, and you see all the Asian people, I'm like, okay, we're in Thailand.
Who's a really deep character for someone who has almost no screen time. Spoiler alert! I hope that's not. A big deal.
This is
but
yeah.
has not a lot of screen time, and to be honest with you, to me, he's one of the most like powerful characters. Like if it wasn't for him, obviously the story's not
The
going
story wouldn't happen.
go into motion. but realistically, like that dude is so dark and so well written. And you know, Nicholas had said when he was talking to the actor, who I forget his name, but. He was talking about how he was so wonderful with just running with this character that he literally gave him no notes on. It was just like, go with it. Do something that you think would be the most evil thing you can think of. You know what I mean? Just
Which was rape and like brutally
of
murder
like
a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And of course,
Pretty terrible.
me, I'm like, ugh. Like as soon as he walked into that like whorehouse and said, "I want me a 14-year-old girl,"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh god,
Yeah.
what have I just gotten myself
into? It gives you
into?"
that feeling, that disgusting, like, oh no, like
Yeah,
this movie's the next. And I'm gonna say this, and this is probably have a lot of people mad on your channel, but it's to me it's the next Clockwork Orange or the next Stanley Kubrick movie if there was to be one. And,
Oh well, yeah. Like I can really picture, and this is on that review that made me actually like the movie.
Right.
He said he can really picture people about 20 years down the line saying this movie is a masterpiece.
Oh, of course.
And I can see that.
Very arguably true, yeah.
I like the movie. I don't know how many times I'm going to say I like this movie, though I do have some issues with it, but we'll get into those a little later. But the number one thing that I love about this film, despite the cinematography and the lighting and stuff like that, of course, like the actual aesthetics of the movie.
From a dude who's colorblind, might I
I
add,
know,
which
like
is crazy.
when he said on the audio commentary he was colorblind, I was like, what?
Yeah, to get that lighting so perfectly, and he's so meticulous about that because he says that at least for this movie, which he calls like practically a silent film, which is true. I mean, Ryan Gosling has 17 lines.
There is like
the whole film.
Is almost like no dialogue in this entire movie.
It's just fantastically told through practically.
A lot of it is just done with. I haven't seen a movie quite like this for a while. Since really a Stanley Kubrick movie. This movie really relies on symbolism, which I'm a huge fan of. But it takes that symbolism to the next level. The only other movie I can compare it to in like recent time is, and I hate to say this because I honestly like the movie, but The Great Gatsby, the new one that just came out. I don't really like the movie.
No.
Well, I like it, but I have some major problems with it. But
of course,
that movie relied way more on symbolism than it relied on actual storytelling.
Right.
And this takes that idea and like extends it to the next freaking level.
I mean, the amount of dialogue from the start of the movie to the finish was supposed to be way more like, I guess, character developing type of like a situation. And realistically now, you have Ryan Gosling telling a story or being a part of a story where he's speaking so minuscule, like it's amazing to me. I don't know how he was able to do that.
Yeah, it almost felt like they were just kind of going with it because Refn apparently shoots in order, which I think is insane.
It's extremely hard to do.
But he shot this movie in order, and he almost described it as like a work in progress as he was working on, for example, the scene where he basically fingers his mom's belly.
Yes. That's a bit dark.
That is a bit disturbing.
That was Ryan Gosling's idea too.
Which disturbs me even more.
I don't know what he was feeling that day. He must.
I would finger my mom's belly.
Yeah, maybe.
And go back into the uterus.
He might have had a stomach ache, and he was just like, "Let me just like
I'm just gonna punch."
Yeah.
He probably was just like, "I have a stomach ache, and I just want to take my anger on the stomach ache out."
I don't know. He's pretty sick.
What the fuck?
Even though to me, this movie was supposedly like not going to be anything like Drive, but I got a lot of Ryan Gosling's character from Drive, along with, which you haven't seen, Valhalla Rising's character, One Eye, who...
He doesn't say one line of dialogue.
He doesn't at all,
Yeah.
and to be honest, I feel like this same character is just consistently back in a Refn film, and I love it because you don't see this in regular cinema. You won't go to the movies and watch a Steven Spielberg movie, you know, who I also really respect, but you won't see that type of character in those movies. You only find this in a Refn film.
I haven't really seen a character be this kind of like, or this main character be kind of like this quiet since I saw Sergio Leone's Fistful of Dollars.
Great movie.
The Man with No Name.
Yeah.
He has hardly any lines throughout the movie. Whenever he says something, he's just like, it's just like one or two words.
And it's funny because you tend to remember the things he says. Like almost all of the 17 lines I can remember because of how important they are to the dialogue when he says them, you know?
God, this movie.
It's great. Like, my favorite line, which most people's, is the "wanna fight" line. Just like when he walks up to Chang.
Yeah.
And there's that slow, like, heavy beat in the background, and it's just like...
Yeah, I downloaded that the other day.
"Wanna Fight"? Yeah, that's a
great... Oh, that soundtrack. Okay, let's just...
Jeff Martinez is the man for that one.
That freaking soundtrack was so ominous, but yet so good. It was simple.
Yeah.
It was... that's what I'm discovering a lot, like, recently. Like, last time... Like, a couple years ago, you won't ever catch me dead saying this. But I was like, I used to be like, the more complicated the soundtrack, the better. And now I'm like, no, I'm like the complete opposite. I've like evolved since then to be like, no, I think the more simple the soundtrack is, the better.
Right.
For example, I'm still riding on the high of Interstellar, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Interstellar soundtrack by Hans Zimmer is so simple.
He is amazing, that guy.
I haven't liked his recent soundtracks just because they're nothing but like these repeated ostinatos and that sound almost the same.
Interesting. I feel like you're right when it comes to that. Since The Dark Knight, it's almost been the same soundtrack. It's like, you know,
and Hans Zimmer in an interview flat out said for Interstellar, and then I'll end it, that he wanted something completely new with it. He went with a lot of church organs.
Really?
For the soundtrack, and it sounded so good. And this film does something very simple, which is like have very few instruments. They just kind of like, it's very ambient, which I think adds a lot, especially when like scenes where like a guy's walking down the hallway, or when he's walking down the street, which is funny because the one action scene, the true action scene we have in this movie where they have the assassination attempt on Chang's man, there's no music.
No, none. And they show it in the trailer with the music, and it's I think it's even better without the music.
Me too. Me too.
Because it's the one time in the movie where everything is real and like fast paced, as opposed to the rest of the movie, which is a lot of standing around and kind of just the facial expressions telling the story. And you get that more or less in this one scene where, you know, Chang's eating I guess dinner with
he's eating with his angels, I guess, as Refn described it in the audio.
God. But it's just such a. The fight scene is probably my favorite. I would go.
The fight scene is so well done because I was expecting a lot of quick cuts, and there's not.
He doesn't like that. He wanted wide shots and he wanted everything to feel real. He said that, you know, fighting guys, you're not going to land a punch.
You're not going to land a punch. And Ryan Gosling doesn't land a single punch, which I didn't even notice until they pointed it out in the audio commentary, and I was like,
it's crazy.
Oh my god, he didn't land that supposed hero of this story.
Yeah.
Which he isn't really.
No, he's the most anti-hero that there's ever been.
There's like God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And this is very, for the record, I got to say, this is very Old Testament God.
100%. Yeah, you can't.
This God is so vengeful.
He's so about cause and effect that it really propels the movie into the next stages.
Chang.
Like, yes,
Chang is my favorite character.
Oh, me too.
I love Chang.
The shot where when he's messing with his sword and he's just going back and forth.
Yeah, it is so funny because he looks so like at peace with himself. He's just like, this is my heaven.
Right.
With him just playing with that sword, which to me added just a whole nother level to him. Let's just talk about Chang, I guess. First off, I knew as soon as he popped up on screen, I knew some shit was going to go down.
Yes.
I don't even know what that actor's name is or what else he's ever played in, but
I'm not quite sure he's done too many other films besides this one.
I know he's actually from Thailand, and they found him there.
Yes.
And oh my god, like you just look at him and like the way how Refn shoots him, the way how he's lit, you know that he is like the being. I just gleeked. The being. Why did I just gleek? He's like the being that this is going to be focused around.
Right.
And for example, that first scene. First off, he's like, what's cool about this is that they kind of parallel it in a very good way. Was that he was apparently a retired cop or like a detective that's coming out, and because he's technically not on the force, he can get away with doing all of this shit.
Which is funny because I didn't know that until I had heard that the uniform he wears is a retired cop uniform from Thailand. So his police uniform is obviously aged, whereas you notice that the rest of the police officers that are with him kind of understand that, like, they can't do it because you notice they don't almost ever do anything.
No, they just stand back
and watch him and watch Chang, you know, act out these
horrible fucking.
But he does really have such a powerful way about him that even when he's doing something horrible, like for instance when he chops off the chef's hands after he kills the brother. That whole scene to me was beautiful because it really is. It's poetic in such a dark and evil sense. Like you watch, you know, and I love the hands again came back because you watch the chef put his hands out like this, and obviously that's foreshadowing what the hands really mean to the whole story. The hands are huge. Like no matter whose hands it are,
it's like it always focuses on the hands. Yes. And what's funny is that I almost got like the opposite of A Clockwork Orange with Chang's character. Whenever he does some horrible act of violence, is he doesn't look happy with doing it. You know what it reminded me of? The main villain in No Country for Old Men.
Anton Chigurh.
Yeah.
Yes.
How he never looked happy when he was doing. He just looked really, actually, almost sad and remorse that he had to do it.
Yeah.
Chang almost looks that way, but he has even more of a blank expression.
It's funny that you compare them because Anton Chigurh and Chang have this such interesting creative way of being violent about handling stuff. For instance, with Chang, it really comes down to his swordplay, which I had heard is extremely hard to do, and he makes it look so easy with the quick movements of his hands, just beautiful. Like, I don't know, it's really like a sport to them in such a way that I can never imagine myself doing. I'm too uncoordinated for that sort of stuff. I have a problem catching a football. Like I can't even like, oh, it would be bad if they gave me a sword to play with. That thing's gonna fly through somebody's window in like 2 seconds after they give it to me. You're quite a problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna hand you one of those katanas and see what happens.
It's like, just give me like a wooden stick after a while, because at least with that I can't kill anybody.
Right. Maybe supposedly you probably could kill somebody.
Who knows?
But you know, Chang, again, we've said it before, but I'm just going to solidify it here. Chang is supposed to basically be the physical form of God
Right.
in this movie.
It's never mentioned.
It's never mentioned, no.
But it's just
Nothing's
obviously
ever really mentioned
nothing
in this movie.
Nothing at all.
But yeah, he's supposed to be that kind of God character, and it really works too. And he has this like magical element about him because whenever he uses the sword, he like pulls it out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see it on.
You never. He just it like just comes out of nowhere. And at first, I thought it was just a film mistake.
Right.
But that's when I started listening to the reviews and
Yeah.
the audio commentary. And I was like, no, I bet you he did do that on purpose.
It's supposed to be the hand of God coming down.
And I know, it's like...
striking down upon you, as they would say.
And a part of me is like, that is so pretentious, it's not even funny.
True.
A part of me is like, that is so fucking pretentious. That's like pathetically pretentious. But yeah, another part of me is like, that is so fucking cool.
It's just, I don't know. He does something with his movies. He's about sexual references. That's his thing, obviously. I mean,
God.
you can watch any movie of his and there's sexual innuendos in every single scene. But for some reason, this movie, he just went all eyes wide shut on cinema.
This
and
is
decided
like
to,
softcore porn.
Yeah, it really is.
It's not quite to the point of Eyes Wide Shut,
No.
but it's pretty much like softcore porn.
It's like the verbal version of Eyes Wide Shut. If you had,
It really is, yeah.
Like-
Which is so funny because there's no dialogue, but
No, it's true. It really is. When the mother speaks, who to me, and I don't think we agreed on this.
yeah, I
earlier,
don't think we did.
I think Chang would be God and the mother is the devil. Only
She's
because
a horrible bitch.
of how manipulative and evil she is to her son, and she,
Both her sons,
right?
really.
Both her sons.
Yeah.
Even though you never see her and the other.
She
brother.
clearly favored the brother that
Yes.
wound up raping and killing that 14-year-old girl,
which is strange to me.
Is so sad because she's, I think, the reason why that happened.
Yes.
Because she's clearly done something.
Twisted.
So, she's
evil
clearly
bitch.
a very incestuous.
Yes.
Which
Even-
every time that happens, like
Yeah, you get this strange, like, uncomfortable feeling inside your chair while you watch the movie. I mean, I don't know if you're standing, but then it would be on the floor, but I don't know.
whatever.
But you get this feeling, even when she first meets Ryan Gosling, like, because obviously the first impression you get of the mother is when she goes to the front desk at the hotel. And you get this epic bitch.
Don't want to fuck with that
Yeah,
bitch.
you can tell right away that she's just evil, and like what a bad day like she must be having to treat someone like the way she did at the front desk. But it just sets up her character so perfectly.
It does, and I knew right from the get-go, I was like, I am going to hate this bitch.
Rightfully so.
And I hated her.
Yes.
When she spoiled, well, we've already said spoilers, so fuck it. When she died, I was so happy.
yeah.
But
I knew she had to go
She
down
had
by
to.
Chang. I didn't want Ryan Gosling to kill her.
me neither. I was expecting Ryan Gosling
Me
to
too.
do it.
And
I was honestly expecting Ryan Gosling to flat out go with the cop.
Yeah.
And with Chang,
And work
I was
together.
happy that he didn't. He
Right.
kind of went down his own path, and I love it how. Let's go back to Chang for a second, in which will tie into the mom. Chang is very merciful if you look at it, because he always gives every single person that he's like
fair
judging
opportunity.
judging
Yeah.
on. He gives them a fair chance to redeem themselves, and like for example, he brings the father of the girl that the brother
the
raped
chef
and
or
brutally
whatever.
murdered, and says, "Do what you want." And he wanted to see what was going to happen, and the whole point of that scene is to basically see if the father will forgive the guy, and he doesn't. He
Yeah.
flats out. And first off, I was rooting for the father the entire time, but whatever.
Yeah. I felt bad. His hands had to be.
Me too.
chopped.
I that's actually one of my complaints with the movie is the fact that he never. I wish it was just one hand. If it was one hand, I would have been like, okay, I'll buy that. But both hands, really?
Was it both hands?
It was both hands.
It was.
Yeah.
Because I remember
Ryan Gosling is definitely both hands.
100%.
At the ending.
Yeah.
And that to me, I was like, really, both hands? Really? It should have just been like one.
Yeah. I do feel Ryan Gosling living was a great way to end a really disturbing and such a strange movie.
Yeah.
Because at least I would like to think he lives. You don't ever see him after his hands.
Yeah, apparently
shot.
they shot this alternate ending.
Right, they did.
Where it was him and that hooker that
Yes.
he kind of was pretending was his
Yeah.
girlfriend. She's feeding him.
Really?
Yeah, and he's finally he's like nuzzled up to her.
Wow.
And she's feeding him with no hands. And I almost wish that they kept that ending in.
Did you see it? Have you seen it?
No.
No? I want to see it.
And I mean, I read it on IMDb and another review said it, so I'm like, it's out there.
Yeah.
But that was originally supposed to be the original ending, but at the last second, Refn cut it out to leave it more ambiguous, apparently.
Okay.
But he was nuzzled up to her, and the whole point with Ryan Gosling is that he has no physical connections with anybody, period.
Right.
Like, he has connections with people,
Yeah.
but he doesn't physically touch anyone.
No.
And, for example, I hate the scene. I hate it. When he basically gets tied down to the chair and
Right.
then watches that hooker finger herself.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there. First of all, I'm sitting there like, ugh. And he's just watching, and it's like, this is his torture. It's like, I can tell he clearly wants to fuck her brains out, but
Yeah.
he can't because of his fucking mother.
Yeah, it's true.
And so at the ending, seeing him, I thought that ending would have worked so much better and complete his character better, because the fact that he is nuzzled
Right.
up to her and she is giving him some physical affection.
That's fair
And I
point.
thought that would have been a great way to end Only God Forgives.
To be completely honest with you, that's the only scene in the movie that I have a problem with, is the scene at dinner with the mother.
Oh, that scene.
You know,
What the fuck?
yeah, and I get it too. I get why, like, they needed that there. They needed there to be a point where, I guess, the good side of things, which is supposed to be this hooker or prostitute or whatever she is.
She's a hooker.
And she's supposed to, I feel like, represent, you know, sanity or realism in a way, because
So
this
funny,
world is
yeah.
so, it's strange because you wouldn't think that that's the norm, but in this crazy Thai universe where, you know,
It's Thailand.
yeah, where a cop is actually God, like, it's a really interesting way they play it out, is they meet good versus evil, sits down at the table, or good versus innocence rather, because even though she's a hooker, she's, I feel like, supposed to represent innocence because of the way
She really
handles-
is. She is technically,
Yeah.
in all honesty, the most innocent character in the movie.
She kind of just stands by, which is ironic because Ryan Gosling literally is just standing by the whole
Yeah, the
movie.
entire movie.
But she stands by and watches this evil play out and you know, convolute Ryan Gosling's ideas behind things. And that's why the line, and excuse me for saying this, everybody, but when she says, "Come dumpster," I feel like
Oh, God.
it really just shattered the innocence of that whole scene, and that's what, like, made me feel like Ryan Gosling taking the clothes away from the hooker after the scene is over
It's
was
the only scene where he actually flips out.
Yeah.
Where he actually loses his shit.
yeah, you don't even during the fight he's still super composed.
He's super composed.
He's very
the scene where he
Yeah.
tells the hooker, I forgot her name. I don't even know if she has a name.
No, I don't
she
think it
goes.
she doesn't.
He yells at her saying, "Take it off,"
yeah.
and
It's after a whole scene of just silent walking, and then like he just jumps.
flips
Yeah.
shit, and it made me feel bad
Yeah.
because I don't hate the scene, I guess, like you do.
No, it's the scene I have a problem with because he's like, "Don't talk about my mama," and I'm like, "Dude, your mama's crazy.
Your
like,
mom was fucking.
yeah, she's the devil."
First off, there's a couple of lines that she says that just completely disturbs the living fuck out of me.
Yeah.
One is, you know, you were always jealous of your brother. You know, he had the bigger cock.
Yeah,
and when I heard her say he had the bigger cock, I was like,
Yeah, it's a double take. Like,
and she is just insulting Ryan Gosling that entire scene.
oh, yeah.
And the other scene that just disturbs the living fuck out of me with her is when he goes to see her for the first time.
Right.
First off, she cops the field.
Yeah.
She totally does.
She also hugs him in a really uncomfortably sexual position.
Yes, and
Which she
and
did
then,
on
and
her
then
own. She wanted
I
to do that.
heard about that. Yeah. And also there's a scene where she has a cigarette in her hand, and then she snaps and like light it. First off, I like that because that just shows how much power and influence she has
over Ryan,
over everybody. Yeah. But she then when she's talking to him, she starts rubbing his arm.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's uncomfortable. It even makes me like, I don't know, curl up a bit when I'm watching because I'm just like, that's so weird, and like no one wants to like, yeah.
What the fuck?
Right, agreed.
And I didn't pick up on it the first time I watched it. The thing. It wasn't until you brought it up that I was like, really? I didn't really notice it. And then all of a sudden I watched it again. I was like, she totally cupped his ass.
Yeah.
And she totally is. Oh my god.
The hooker's face in that scene. When you just see Ryan's hand come out, you don't even see his face. Again with the hands, you see his hand come out and just light the cigarette, and the only shot in the background is the hooker's face and her just honest awe of how
she is. She just sits there like
she's distraught because of how sick she must. I would feel sick to watch this woman be so crazy and evil at all at one time. It's amazing to me.
I still don't think the mom is the devil. I actually think the mom is more or less that kind of free will aspect.
Interesting.
Because I've always said, and this is actually for another series that I want to do after the Godzilla saga, called the Mothra saga, and but the entire thing is that there's these angels that tried to make humanity, but during this war between the angels and the demons, though the angels wound up winning, their victory wasn't complete, and the catch to the win was that the humans had free will.
Okay.
And it reminded me of, I actually kind of stole it from this, to be honest, because the mom was like, I did, and I fully, unlike a lot of people, I feel like I fully admit when I say I totally stole that from this.
Honestly, it's probably healthier. You haven't got a lot of stuff to hold behind you now because you got it all off your chest.
But it's like this fucking movie.
I know it's hard to think about sometimes, but I do love talking about it because every single scene, especially. All right, so once you get past the whole scene at dinner, and he doesn't take the dress, by the way.
No,
he doesn't take the dress.
No,
and he somehow ends up back with the hooker again because if you watch the fight scene, he walks in with her.
Yep.
Which
she's always there for him.
Yeah.
If you look at it, she's always like she's clearly more than just a hooker. Either he doesn't show feelings for her and she shows feelings for him, or the other way around.
I think it's more she shows affection for
That's
him.
what I was hoping you were going to say that, because I was like, that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
It would make more sense. To me, it makes more sense for Ryan Gosling's character in general.
100%, yeah.
This movie. It's such an interesting piece of film. Like, this is art house cinema.
Yeah.
And I love art house.
It's really like a painting that came to life.
It is. It's just like a painting. This is the entire movie is like a moving painting.
It's objective to the way that you think, because if you see the movie and you have a mindset going into it, that's the way you're going to see this movie. You won't see it the way that I might see it, which is why I think that the first time you had seen it, we had such different views.
I was like,
and now if you notice, we're more aligned on this. We're kind of like setting up to kill Alderaan with the Death Star here.
Yeah. Well, it was like and I admire movies that make me have to do this.
Right.
This movie clearly takes more than one sitting for you to even remotely start understanding. I will even fully admit that I don't completely understand the movie.
I still don't. And I've seen it like 5 or 6 times.
This is like, the way you talk about it, I'm like, this has to be your favorite movie.
As of right now, it very much so is. Just because I love that I really like to think about this movie. Like I really just love thinking about it. I love breaking it down because it is so dark, and he is so inside his own head in the whole movie, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Especially his hotel room, which is very clear from start to finish that is his mind, because he sees things in there that aren't necessarily real or actually developing the plot in any way. It's kind of just stuff that like appears in his head. His mother is one of the main things that he sees. He'll even see Chang at one point or two, where Chang will walk through a door inside his hotel room, which you know he's not really there, but you get this sense that Ryan Gosling is like, whenever that's happening, that's him, you know, like, that's the only real character development you'll get for him, is you'll see what he's seeing for the first time.
Yeah.
And those colors are so distinct to him, so when they appear for the rest of the movie, it's all Ryan Gosling's point of view, I would assume.
Yeah,
you know?
And I love Chang's almost respect for Ryan Gosling.
I agree, and I think they have
a mutual respect.
Right.
Because clearly the way how Chang just like, at first Chang is like, whatever. The first scene that Chang and Ryan Gosling, first off, they don't even share the same screen space together in the first time that they meet, which I think is a genius decision. But Chang just looks at him and goes, it's not him, and just walks away.
Yeah, I love that.
And I'm like, holy shit.
That brutal confidence that he has.
And
he's just sure that Ryan Gosling had no involvement in
of
the chef.
And the cops are like, okay, and just walk with him. So like clearly the cops are like the angels of God. And even when they're fighting, Chang is clearly respecting Ryan Gosling for even remotely trying to.
Right. You notice he does win, but you notice that he doesn't beat him down. But
Yeah.
in Thai fighting, which I think it's even discussed on the commentary, but I
Yeah.
just knew this off of personal Thai experience because of how many times I've been there. Which no, I've never been there before, but
Personal Thai experience after
Yeah.
how many times I've been there.
yeah.
I've never been out there.
Exactly, but in the Thai fight, it's not about beating the other person. It's about like, or it's not about beating down the other person. It's about how quickly and how skillfully you can win this fight. So without cheating or it's about how quick and how fast you can do it. So how many moves like less can you beat him than he beats you, kind of thing. Like,
Well, yeah, you use a lot of, and well, that's Asian fighting
Yeah.
in general, where
Exactly.
you basically use your opponent's strength
right,
against
Yes.
against him.
which is
And
amazing.
I think that's a wonderful idea. But something else that I just loved about Chang is that he even gives the mom a chance to redeem herself.
Do you think so?
Because there's a scene, but he doesn't just walk into the hotel room and kill her.
True.
He sits out in the shadows
Yeah.
and listens to her speak.
Talk to the cop.
And the way how she speaks to the cop is so horrible and so despicable and just so disgusting.
True.
That Chang was like, yep, she's dead. And she just walks out and she knows she's fucked.
You notice how fast she switched from, needing Ryan Gosling to when her back's up against the wall and her only living son is there, she throws him under the bus so fast. And what a terrible mother. Not that she's, had a great track record in the past in this movie, but realistically, like, she just threw, like, she was just like, oh, go kill my son, not me. Like, he's the bad one.
Yeah.
I'm just innocent, I'm a bystander in this whole situation. Like, no, you're not. And it's a good thing that you got your throat cut right after that, because she kind of deserved it. Like,
She did. I was very happy to see her die.
yeah.
However,
that
there was one
pretty
character
real.
that I did not like seeing him die.
Who?
And that was, and not just because of how horrible and grotesque and how long the scene goes on, and it's actually one of the complaints in my movie. And we'll get into the complaints, I guess.
Yeah.
But that guy who organized the assassination.
The Scottish guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how he gets stabbed in the
Yeah.
legs and in the arms. First off, I thought that scene went way too long and was way too disgusting. I thought that they should have, less would have been more.
They cut out, actually, ironically, they cut out.
They did cut out.
They cut out the extra spot where they were going to have his tongue being taken out. They just felt it was too much. And I was like, well,
yeah, the eyes are fine.
Yeah.
And,
his ear, at least they stopped.
and I said, if you would have cut out the legs and the arm thing, I would have been fine with the scene. Personally, I would have been fine with the scene. Or if they just do the legs and the arms scene and then they cut to the mom finding out what happened to him, I thought it would have worked great. But they went way too overboard. And of course, Ref said he has a fetish for violence, which makes me really scared.
Yeah.
But
He's a pretty dark guy.
yeah, he's a
In
really
general.
fucked up guy.
He tends to really love sexual violence. So rape is a big one that comes around in this movie, or even molestation, because you could pass it off as the mother molests Ryan when she first sees him, because like you had said, she cops feel, which is very true, but she also hugs him below the waist, which is a very uncomfortable spot for a mom to be hugging a son. That just should not happen. So to see that gives that vibe that we had said earlier was an uncomfortable vibe, and it's just like from there on the movie slowly progresses into this just like sick sexual torture.
It feels like a downward spiral.
It really does. It gets darker,
And
which is
darker.
crazy because the opening scene is the murder and rape of a 14-year-old girl.
Which, you know what? It's not the most violent scene in the movie.
Not at all.
You don't even see him kill her. I mean,
you just see the blood, which is already covered by the lighting in the
With the
background.
lighting, yeah.
So it almost saves you the trouble. It's kind of like Raging Bull, that it's all black and white, even though there's so much blood in that movie. I don't know if
there's a lot of blood in
to
that movie.
rewatch it, it's amazing. But that's the reason that I find that this movie doesn't shy away from anything, which is kind of problematic. Especially with the scene of the torture, because you get these big stakes into they're for like the hair, right?
They're for the hair.
I do love that
they say in the audio commentary they're chopsticks, and I'm like, they're not. They're
like
hair
chopsticks.
pieces. They're meant to keep the hair.
Yeah.
The girl's hair is in the ball.
I really love in that scene though, man. Oh my god, when he's like, "Girls, close your eyes." Like, I was like,
Don't close your eyes. Try to forget it.
yeah.
guys, keep your eyes open and don't forget it.
Yeah, and that is amazing.
And I loved that. I loved that line.
And it keeps cutting to different women with their eyes closed, and I feel for them so much because I can imagine like what that must have been like to be in that room. By the way, the guy who's getting tortured, I think it's the first time he's ever acted, they said.
Yeah.
And he said that he just had such an outstanding performance for him that he's going to plan to use that dude in the future. So we may see more of
I hope
Scottish.
so. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
He did a great job. The other thing that I do like about and why I wanted him to live was that he was so ballsy against God. Like even against Chang, like even with his eyes cut, he was like, "Fuck you! I ain't gonna tell you shit." And I'm like, I want you to live just because of that.
Yeah, he's a pretty. He's very cool.
He just like the first time when he gets stabbed in the legs, he leans forward and goes, "Fuck you," and then he gets stabbed again. He's still like, "I ain't gonna tell you anything," and I'm like, "Oh." Yeah. But overall, I just felt like the scene went on way too long, and it was too grotesque. Like I love gore.
Yeah.
I love gore.
I don't know if that's more gore or just sadistic.
That felt more sadistic. Well, they did show the eye.
True.
The eye thing, which I gotta say, anything that has to do with the eyes or
hurts. You can feel it.
Like you can feel it.
Oh,
to me, it's the eyes. It's the eyes. If you see something going on with the eyes, or for some reason fingers getting broken.
Oh.
Fingers getting broken, I will go. Not an arm, fucking.
No, yeah, you can.
It's like the fingers and the eyes for me is what will always like get me.
You literally see, which is so graphic, but you see him.
You do see him.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, and it's terrible. And I thought they went too far with that. They either had to cut out the scenes with him in the arm and the legs, or they should have cut out that.
Which is why I had almost no problem with the scene with the disabled boy. Because
I love that scene.
That
scene was so good. I didn't even notice it my first time watching it.
It was great.
That's how subtle the whole thing with the boy was.
It was beautiful.
Oh God, I love that scene. Basically, what happens is the other guy who was involved with the assassination, the guy that winds up that Chang catches and is like, "Get him, kill him. He was responsible."
Yeah.
And that guy, the other guy, just goes up to Chang. He's like, "Yeah, I'm responsible. I just ask one thing: don't kill my son.
Don't hurt my son.
Don't hurt my son." And when he says, "Don't hurt my son," and the fact that he was so honest,
you see it in Chang's face. Literally,
he's like
a switch goes
He's
off.
like, "You're going to be okay. I'm going to let you live," just because of that.
He suffered enough. That was really what Refn was trying to display.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this whole time, this dude in the background who's trying to get this other guy killed, his face is destroyed.
Yeah.
Because of the oil.
Because of the oil, yeah. Chang doesn't fucking just hit him with a pan. He splats this like frying oil on him, and then starts beating him with the fucking
yeah. And you just hear like, oh, and it goes. They're like tracking down like an alley, and you just hear like, oh, like as he's like just getting.
He's just like
and it doesn't even show what happens to him next. It just cuts away from that.
Immediately, it's a jump cut.
Yeah.
It immediately jumps away, which I thought was genius. And.
It's a great.
And it's also funny to notice, how the fuck does Chang know that out of all the passageways, how does he know that
that's where he's gonna
that's where he's gonna go? Which just adds
God.
to that thing where he's like, he's God, he knows everything.
That's true. He's so mystical, that guy. He has that really like outer being like feel to him throughout the whole movie. When the only time I would say it's kind of obvious that he's still human at some point is when he's with his daughter. Because
love that scene.
There's two of them, and the two different scenes really just bring out the human side of a dude that you've only seen be this like otherworldly being, you know?
Yeah.
He's alienated for a majority of the movie as a separate person.
Well, he goes home and you're like, oh yeah, he is a human.
Right.
But
him having a daughter is very interesting too.
And I love how that's the only reason why he spares Ryan Gosling in the end is because Ryan Gosling spares his daughter.
Yes.
Which makes me wonder if he spared the wife. Was that the wife? I can't remember if that was his wife or another daughter.
I think that was a babysitter. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if Ryan Gosling allowed her to be spared too, would he have even
cut his hands off?
Yeah.
Maybe for breaking into his house.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because that's still in
I would have just like cut off a finger for breaking into his house. Considering
in Chang's mind, the way I view him, if I was to play this character, would have been, he broke into my house. That's crossing the line. Like he went too far. But you know, like you had said, the real reason I would assume that he spares him in any way at all is because Ryan Gosling had a change of heart and realized what he was doing by killing the daughter was wrong. And you see, you know,
Ryan Gosling clearly doesn't want to be there.
Right, and you can see he's already hurt. His face is destroyed. It's right after the fight.
God, that is the most fucked up I've seen, like, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Look.
And he really did take, not obviously the facial hits, but his body was actually in pain because Chang in the fight scene was actually hitting him. So
I heard about that.
When you see like the punches and stuff being landed, that's real punches. And him falling to the floor, there was nothing there to protect him. He's really hitting cement like 17, 18 times in a row.
You know what that reminded me of? And I know you don't really care for it, but the remake to Dawn of the Dead, Sarah Polley, her character when she gets slammed, when her husband turns into a zombie, when she gets slammed,
great scene in the movie that I'm not a big fan of.
I like the movie, I do.
I do love the.
I like the original one better.
Oh yeah.
But when she gets slammed to the bathtub and falls head first into the bathtub, that was actually her getting thrown into that.
That's not good.
And Zack Snyder said we'll do something, and she said no, it won't look as good.
No,
which makes me admire her as an actress.
Right.
And seeing Ryan Gosling land these makes me also just admire him. First of all, I think he's a fantastic actor. Period. My favorite movie he's in, though, is one that you haven't seen. It's called The Slaughter Rule, which is a football movie.
I have never seen that, though.
It's so good.
Interesting.
It's a very independent film, but it's a very good film.
Yeah.
But it makes me admire him more because he was willing to do that.
Oh,
I don't think I mean, I don't mind acting. I don't like it, but I can act. And I wouldn't fucking do that. No. Are you shitting me?
Not 18, 19 times in a row with a legitimately skilled fighter, as it seems. I mean, I don't know much.
I don't even know if that guy's really, if Chang's really an actor or not.
He has such skill about him. I know he does train with that sword.
Yes.
Because he had such extensive training beforehand, and that's why Refn felt he was perfect for that.
Yeah, why he was perfect for the role.
But at the same token, like, you got Ryan Gosling, who's a well-known actor. I mean, Drive is like one of those movies that was not supposed to be as famous as it was, but that movie blew up and became such a cult movie.
It did. It became a wicked big. And I like Drive.
I love it.
I like it. It's not...
I love the colors.
I like it.
I love the color. I love that movie. I love the colors. I love the style. I love that they don't mention his name at all. I mean, this movie's name is Julian, which we haven't. I don't think we've mentioned that.
Yeah, but his name is Julian.
Yeah, but Julian, like, as a character, and Julian as Ryan Gosling are two totally different people. Ryan Gosling had trouble after the movie was over with the role himself. Like, once he finally saw what he had done, he felt he went too far. Along with the mother, she actually says that the movie is unbearable for her to watch. She can't even deal with it herself because of
I did hear about
how
that,
violent it really is. And you know, while you make a movie, who I don't know if any of you have had any experience with this, we do. When you make short films and such, or even, you know, theatrical full-length features, you don't realize what you're doing at the time.
How violent something can look. Like, I had to tone down. Let's see, Lake of Death.
Yeah.
Lake of Death. John Archer. The character John Archer gets torn apart.
Yeah.
I had to cut so much out of that because I didn't realize, because of course in the time I was just like, oh my god, this looks fantastic, and we were just rolling with it. And when I was editing it all together, you can see it in the extended director's cut, my cut, just how much like detail we put into the gore.
Yeah.
But when I released it in theaters, I said I wanted to keep it PG-13 because, to be honest, it being my first film I got released, I wanted as many people to see it as possible. So I said I'm going to keep it PG-13, and I cut out like almost like a minute and a half of him getting torn apart,
which sounds like a long minute and a half. That's crazy.
And so yeah, I kind of understand. I understand where Ryan Gosling and that actress, I keep forgetting her name.
They shorten her name to her initials. It's like RKS or RK or something. I don't know.
I love this artistic choice too. The movie doesn't feel like an English movie at all because all the titles are subtitled. Yes. Like the title "Only God Forgives" is in Thai, but they subtitle it. Yeah. And I was like, that's so cool.
the intro credits don't even have subtitles. Some of them, the ones before "Only God Forgives" are just in Thai, so they could literally say like anything. And
they could be like, "You guys are so stupid for sitting here watching this. Why are you here?"
Or like, "I bet you can't read this." Right
I bet you can't read this, and we wouldn't know.
Like, wow, this is so cool.
It's so artistic.
It's in Thai. Yeah, but you know, it's just fantastic movie from start to finish.
It is a pretty good movie. Again, it took me at least 3 times to watch it, and I almost now want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Because you said some stuff that I haven't noticed, and I'm like, okay.
You know,
now it may make sense.
Yeah,
when this happens.
I personally, I love when people don't like this movie because that's where the real heavy conversation he brings about. Like you won't meet someone. I mean, besides us who have a good enough knowledge for this film that we can talk about it. If you meet someone who hates it, they know just as much as you, if not more, because they hate it. People who don't like things tend to really get involved with them because that's how obsessed they become.
And I love hearing people hate about this film. And to be honest, you know, like a lot of times when I hear people hate about a film, I'm like, really? Did you guys see the same movie as me?
Yeah.
That was me with Interstellar.
Right.
With some of the people that are panning
I
Interstellar.
have yet to watch. I might watch it tonight.
Oh, it's so good.
It's gonna be a packed house, like crazy, but
it was so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was right in the front row, like.
I can't do that. I feel like I get like too into the movie.
But I love
like
it.
if it's like a roller coaster in a movie, I'm like, it's just too
well, it's
close.
not 3D, so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, Chris Nolan will never shoot a movie in 3D.
That should be an IMAX. We're getting way off topic.
We are, but anyways, but I really honestly understand. It's kind of like me and Evangelion, which is so funny.
Yeah.
Because I was just getting done Evangelion, which is why I think you'd love it.
I'm gonna check it out. I promise you. After Tokyo Drifter or before, possibly.
Because Tokyo Drifter, Evangelion is so like you have to interpret it. It's so full of symbolism and stuff like that.
I had watched one of your reviews, believe it or not, because I'm also a fan, as well as a friend. Yeah. But honestly, like it seems like there's quite a lot involved in that, which is what makes me so interested. It piqued my interest when you were talking about the symbolism, which you and me both love religious symbolism.
I love it so much.
You know? And like this movie, Only God Forgives, including Evangelion, which I haven't seen myself, but from what he's told me and what I've watched, they are like so packed.
Interstellar is full of it.
Yeah, and they are so packed with this symbolism that makes the movie so interesting. Like back to the hands again, which I hate to keep jumping to, but the
hands are important.
They are important. There's the statue that you see several times
during the fight scene where it just like randomly cuts to it, and I'm like, what? That distracted me so much when I first watched it, and then when I was, and it still distracted me when I watched it, and then I listened to the audio commentary, and I was like, well, now I at least respect why they cut to the
which I think that statue's so cool, and apparently it's really in this boxing ring, like this gym that they're in, and Nicholas Winding Refn loves like shooting on location. He doesn't like changing a thing. For the restaurant scene, he said that practically nothing was taken out of that scene except for things that weren't Thai related. He said that like all the scenes that have like Americanized stuff in them, he didn't want them there.
He didn't want them there.
So he
replaced the glass with like actual Thai kind of glass.
And for one of the best cuts in movie history for me is when you see Chang singing randomly different songs at karaoke.
I love that.
It makes no sense to me.
I love it. I love the fact that because singing very much so, and I have that thing. What you listen to with music is really what your soul is.
Very true.
And what you basically when you sing, it's almost like, well, at least for me, it is an experience. Like when I sing, I'm usually in a very good mood, and it's part of it's actually because I'm singing. Like I feel better when I sing. I'm terrible at singing, but I don't give a fuck because I feel good doing it. And seeing Chang, who actually has a pretty decent voice.
Yeah. He's not bad.
He's singing.
I don't even know how old he is.
I don't know either. But he's singing this karaoke. And
randomly too.
It's always after, I noticed a pattern. It's always after he just did something vengeance.
So
when he like murders somebody, it's always after he did an act of vengeance. And
must be his way of like cooling
off. And it's it's like, and all the songs are always these really peaceful songs.
He's got the great wall.
I'm like, this is great, and I'm like, this is fantastic. Like I know, like some people say they cut too much to him singing, and they like him singing, but they just cut too much. And I was like, no, I like it. I like it. The other thing I like is during the end credits when he's singing for the last time.
That's my favorite part of him singing the three
stages. Yeah,
and
the ending.
That's the best one for sure.
Refn said that they had to do so many takes with the cops.
Really?
With the cops watching him because he said, "Don't blink."
You know, you're right.
They don't blink in any of their takes.
Wow.
No scene that they're in, they don't blink. And the only other time where I can really think of something like that happening, believe it or not, is an AI. And I don't like that movie, but I respect it. Which, I mean, you don't necessarily have to like a movie in order to respect it.
That's very true, yeah, I agree.
And AI, Spielberg said to the people who played The robots do not blink
In any scene?
in any scene. Do not blink. Which I thought was an interesting choice.
Right.
And this reminded, for some reason, when I saw that they weren't blinking, when I heard that he said, yeah, I told them never to blink. In any of the scenes that they're in, do not blink. Chang can blink whatever the fuck he wants. He's God.
Right.
But the angels cannot blink.
He's got a robotic sense to him too. Even when he walks, Chang never like has like a sway to his walk. It's
when he's
literally just
running after that guy, he's like,
yeah, I mean, he's fast, motherfucker too. He can move.
What was cool was that you could see the camera tilt like this when it's going towards, because they're like trying to keep up with him.
That's a great scene too. Is when Ryan Gosling for the first time really goes after Chang, or he's looking for Chang.
He's just following him. Right.
You know, they said they had such trouble shooting that scene because
people were looking at
They constantly kept looking into the camera, and I can imagine the stress that must have caused on not only like the crew but the actors. Like, to shoot a scene over and over again is sometimes painstaking.
Yeah.
And especially when you're in a public street and you're trying to just get it done quick, you know, just like get out of there because you don't have the permits and like you want to do it.
Yeah,
and
that's so funny. Listening to him be talking about how like a lot of the external shots they had no permits or whatever. They were just basically.
Yeah, it's great. Like this dude's a like well-known director and he can't get permits.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's just funny to me.
It's so funny. It's just so funny.
Yeah,
because it reminds me of like what Ed Wood would do. Ed Wood was filming Glen or Glenda.
Yeah.
Which Ed Wood is one of my icons, even though he made shit. And he's filming the scene where they're walking down, and it's beautifully depicted on the movie Ed Wood, which is my favorite Tim Burton film. And all of a sudden the cops pull around the corner.
Yeah.
And he all of a sudden he looks, he's like, oh my god, we don't have permits. Run! And everyone scatters.
That's very
and I'm
cool.
just like, I could picture the crew of fucking Only God Forgives running, afraid that Chang was going to be a real cop, because in Thailand,
who knows?
You don't do shit in Thailand.
Not unless you want to go to jail for the next
Thailand is like Vegas times like 100.
Which is because they shot most of that movie in Chinatown. I think
they did.
Almost all of it in Chinatown.
Yeah.
Except for like the scenes at the park, which is where Ryan Gosling gets his hands chopped off, and I think Chang. That's also where he's practicing with his sword. In Chinatown, at least in Thailand, or Bangkok specifically, you really got to be careful what you do. You know, they're Americans here in this world where, especially Refn himself says, changes. From daytime, it's an Americanized city almost, like it's completely got Western influences.
Yeah,
and then at night it becomes this Chinese.
Asia. It's Asia. Like, this is the epitome of what Asia is.
Because Thailand is pretty much another China in a way, and I hope I don't insult anyone by saying that, but the Chinese influence in Thailand
looks
is
Chinese.
Huge. It's a majority, especially in Bangkok. So Chinatown is huge, and a lot of people go there, and like, you want to get drugs or women or anything, you gamble, you go to Chinatown. So shooting in that place only makes sense for this dark movie, because it gives that Eastern mysticism on a place that's already heavily influenced on that type of style. So it's so well meshed.
Got this movie.
Yeah. Very true. It's the movie that just makes you say, wow, like.
No, my first reaction to it was, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I felt so bad for my roommate, because I was sitting here and it finished, and I was like screaming. Well, I wasn't screaming, but I was like pissed for like, I was like, really? This had to have been a joke.
I remember you
had to been joking with me.
You made me laugh when you texted me because you were like, "What the fuck?" And I was just like,
the first thing I said to you, I still have it on my phone just because it's so funny. It makes me laugh every time I read it. First thing I said to you was, "What the fuck?" And you were like, "What?" And I was like, "Only God Forgives." What the fuck was that?
That was quite a great text to be getting late at night, because it made me actually laugh out loud, which I haven't had from a text message, I don't think, ever before. So I appreciate that.
And I was,
thank you.
Did some good. So, any final thoughts on the movie? Or
I would suggest that if you get a chance, please watch it, and
do watch it,
and be open to whatever comes to mind when you watch it. Don't go in judgmental. Just be like willing to feel it out for yourself. And if you don't like it still, then very well. A lot of people won't, but there will be quite a few that do, and they're on the same page as us, pretty much.
Yeah, you're either going to love this movie or you're going to hate it. Mm-hmm. There is hardly a middle ground for this movie.
Very true.
And I am not in the middle. I honestly really like the movie. There's some stuff that I don't like about it, but I genuinely very much so like the movie. really check it out. Just make sure you see it more than once. Because the first time you watch it, you just watch it for the experience of watching it, and then the second time, if you watch it and you basically read up on it or see some reviews for it, you do get a far greater appreciation for the movie. The appreciation is what made me like it, and I genuinely would you rate this movie? What would you rate it?
For me, I don't know if you're gonna agree with this. For me, it's probably a 9. Because of how much I've learned, looked into it. I wouldn't say it's a 9 for story. It's a 9,
like a 9 out of 10
of overall.
Yes,
because of the amount that I've looked into it and the amount that I've really developed it as a movie that I learned to love. I didn't love it right away, just like Adam. I had problems with it, but I also didn't like The Clockwork Orange the first time I saw it, and now that's like my favorite.
It's like your favorite movie.
So
you gush over that movie.
Definitely give it a second chance if you're not crazy about it the first time.
And I rate things out of 4. I give this movie. I was going to give it a 2.5 out of 4, but I said no, I like it too much. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 4, which is a good. I'd take a 3 out of 4.
It's a 75 out of 100.
I'll take a fucking 3 out of 4.
It's a passing grade.
But yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I genuinely like it. Please do check it out. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Follow this guy on what? Instagram?
Yeah. You don't have to follow me on anything. I'm not that interesting. So. Alright.
But yeah, hit the subscribe button. Go on Facebook, like the Godzilla Saga, like AN Productions, like the Sons of Serizawa Network homepage. And if you want to, join Toho Nation, which is our group. We currently, I forgot what number we just reached, but it was like a new milestone, and we're like so happy. I can't remember what number it was. It was like 3 in the morning when I read the numbers. And this is Adam Noyce from Adam Noyce, and this is Kyle Narciso Paris. 2 last names, so badass.
Thank you very much.
This is Adam Noyce from Adam Noyce saying, sayonara.